Hello everybody, welcome to today's video. And today's video is a very special video because I'm going to cover for the one particular industry. एक particular industry को cover करूँगा जो which is going to be information technology, the IT sector. और ये sector basically I will just take you through the Economic Times का article which is actually telling that the next decade could be for the Indian IT companies. Why? Because they are, in fact, they are telling that this the next 10 years, which is going to be a decade, they have termed it as a decade. So it belongs to an Indian IT companies, and the industry is going to do exponentially well in the upcoming years. So if you see. A little more than half of the top 2000 companies worldwide is on a digital transformation journey. They are all leaving Indian IT services providers with enough opportunities. So they are giving Indian IT companies, they're providing with enough opportunities, okay, to tap this pool and beyond. So this is a very positive news, and this article is, as I told you, it is from Economic Times, 24 January 2022. So this report, I'll just basically take you through. Even before the onset of COVID-19 pandemic, over 60% share of new deals was tricking into bags of Indian IT companies. They were all more than 60% of share new deals were all coming to they're all backed by the Indian IT companies. So can you just imagine how much of opportunity is there, in coming future in this particular industry? So the new deals was, as I told you, they was all they all scaled up to the demand since has meant that the next decade or a decade, as I said, it belongs to an Indian IT companies, and this could turn out to be a golden window for these companies to pivot to the big league. So अभी imagine कीजिए कि this could turn out to be a golden window. It's going to be a golden opportunity for this IT companies in India, Indian IT companies. So abhi when we go and when we invest in these IT companies, just imagine how much of it can create a wealth for the investors. So on a large chunk, if you see, क्योंकि इंडियन आईटी कंपनीज अभी आने वाले समय में इतना ज़्यादा बूम होने वाला है. एंड ऑलरेडी इंडियन टॉप फाइव टेक्नोलॉजी सर्विसेज फर्म्स लाइक टाटा कंसल्टेंसी सर्विसेज, इन्फोसिस, विप्रो, HCL टेक्नोलॉजीज, टेक महिंद्रा, they are expected to report around $70 billion in combined revenue in an ongoing fiscal year. So can you imagine $70 billion combined revenue इन पांचों कंपनी का मिलाकर होगा ongoing fiscal year में, which each with each estimated to grow in the range of 15 to 20% as they help the global enterprise transform their business, because these companies, this set of companies are actually helping the on a global front. They're helping on a large scale. They are helping the companies on a global scale, and they are estimated to grow in the range of 15 to 20%. So they are helping the global enterprises to transform their business. The story with respect to smaller companies like tier 2 IT companies is expected to be similar. So likewise, जैसे ही ये बड़े बड़े जो ब्लू चिप कंपनीज आईटी कंपनीज जो ग्रो कर रही हैं, जैसे TCS हो गया, विप्रो हो गया, इन्फोसिस हो गया, HCL टेक्नोलॉजीज हो गया, टेक महिंद्रा हो गया, वैसे ही जितनी भी मिड स्केल कंपनीज हैं, मीडियम एंटरप्राइज कंपनीज हैं, मिड कैप कंपनीज हैं, जैसे कि KPIT टेक्नोलॉजीज हो गई, आपको साइंट हो गया, देन LTTS हो गया, लार्सन एंड ट्यूब्रो, इन्फोटेक हो गया, लार्सन एंड ट्यूब्रो टेक्नोलॉजी सर्विसेज हो गया. ये सारे कंपनीज जो मिड स्केल में हैं, दे आर ऑल्सो गोइंग टू परफॉर्म इन a similar pattern how these big players are performing. So in fact they may even outstrip the growth rates of larger peers. जो जितने भी मैंने ये मिड साइज कंपनीज जैसे बताया कि साइंट हो गया, KPI टेक्नोलॉजीज हो गया, बिरला सॉफ्टवेयर हो गया, आपको माइंड ट्री हो गया, हैप्पीएस्ट माइंड हो गया, देन लार्सन ट्यूब्रो इन्फोटेक हो गया, लार्सन ट्यूब्रो टेक्नोलॉजी सर्विसेज हो गया, दिस मिड size companies, mid cap companies. They might even the growth rate might increase. I mean, like it could be much more than its larger peers than TCS, Infosys, or Wipro, or HCL Technologies, or Tech Mahindra. So just imagine how much of opportunity lies ahead for all these companies. In fact, all the companies, whether it is a large cap or a mid cap or a in this range category companies. So if you see now, the top tier Indian ID company comprise of 40% of total software exports from India. So so just imagine. So जितने भी टोटल सॉफ्टवेयर एक्सपोर्ट्स हो रहे हैं इंडिया से बाहर कंट्री में 40% of that is actually coming from the software exports. So they have a strong balance sheets and significant. They are having a significant cash reserves. So the cash reserve is is they are generating is it's very significant. Their business model is perfected over the last 40 plus years. Depends on a small pool of experienced associates hiring and training freshers. So this has helped them create a capacity to capture unprecedented global demand even in the ecosystems where the talent is in short supply. So in a nutshell, if you see, so much of opportunity is there for this particular industry, and we cannot even imagine how much of growth जो आने वाले हैं next decade. Now, if you see the additional business, the pandemic included the gold rush for Indian IT service providers that started in 2020 has pushed the overall industry to report $400 billion in any additional business. So this is really, I mean, a very good opportunity for the companies following the massive demand for cybersecurity and cloud solutions among others. So this particular two areas which is having a massive demand, a cybersecurity and the cloud solutions. We are seeing an unprecedented opportunities in the next 10 days in 10 years, a decade. That's why it is termed as a decade. Is going to be evolution for technology to become much more human centric. Companies that can build exclusive at scale technologies that people trust are going to see tremendous scale. It is said by Debjani Ghosh, President NASCOM, talking about the opportunities for Indian IT over the next decade. Now, if we go ahead in this article, what do we see? Abhi, it is also safe to assume that since the top five Indian IT companies, the IT services, which are the top five? The TCS, the Infosys, Wipro, Tech Mahindra, and HCL Technologies. These providers reported the combined order book of roughly $62 billion across the deals and across the new deals and total deals wins in 2020-21. So can you imagine, guys? So combination of these five companies only, they have a roughly a new deals of $62 billion. And in this in 2021 fiscal year, the large chunk of such deals has already landed on domestic shores. After the pandemic made its presence felt from the end of the fourth quarter, the financial year 2019-20, the following three quarters witnessed a slowdown in client spending. But by the second quarter of financial year 2020-21, FY21, April to March, the big guns like TCS, Infosys, Wipro, SCL, and SCL Technologies were reporting a green shoots. So green shoots. So they had a really good client spending for the business of recovery as the pandemic recorded companies to ramp up their digital presence both in-house and of their end customers. By the third quarter of FY21, Indian ID companies were reporting strong returns from pent-up demand क्योंकि वहाँ पे pent-up demand था, hinting to a long-term spending cycle. So everything is going to be a long-term spending cycle because इनके पास already इतने सारे they have actually bagged so much of deals from the global technology companies and different other companies. अगर आप fourth quarter भी देखें, then fourth quarter also the growth rate is stronger than ever as of the third quarter. So more than third quarter, fourth quarter, I mean, the growth was even more stronger. in the fiscal year of 2021-22 FY22. These companies were showing high growth rates with no signs of slowing down during the quarter ended December. The sequential revenue growth was 7.6% for HCL Technologies, 7% for Infosys, 4% for TCS, and 3% of for Wipro. So if can you imagine, just imagine that how much of growth potential is there for going ahead for this for our Indian technology companies. Now, like I said, mid-tier services providers such as Mindtree, LTI, Larsen and Toubro Infotech reported 5.2% and 9.2% growth, which is much more than the blue chip companies for the LTI and the Mindtree, respectively. So across all the board, if you see the whether it is a large cap companies or the mid cap size company for the IT, they are all doing going great guns. In effect, these companies had continued to maintain their streak of deals wins and client addition despite a shift to a smaller mid-sized deals. So clients also have shifted to smaller and mid-sized companies for the deals. And as I said, the pent-up demand is huge. Many people around the world believe this is the start of the digital transformation. So people just imagine, many people they believe around the world that this is just a start in the digital transformation, so there's so much more to come. So just imagine how much of more transformation is going to come in the next decade for the IT companies. So this particular sector, the industry in itself, is having a great opportunity, for whether it is for investment purpose, or whether it is for people who are doing their working, for their jobs to grow in their jobs, or whether it is for the investment purpose. This industry is the industry for the next decade to come. And if you see the acceleration in the last few months, in the last 18 months or so, it is not like we are at the end of this transformation, said Salil Parekh, the chief executive officer of Infosys. There are a large number of global enterprises, and there's a lot of different processes within an enterprises that are going through this transformation. So therefore, the sense I have is that we still have a fairly long runway for when the digital transformation goes on, Mr. Parekh has added. So just imagine कि एक CEO जैसे हम लोग को बता रहे हैं कि a massive transformation आने वाला है, और चल भी रहा है इस पर्टिकुलर इंडस्ट्री में. Led by this growth spurt, the Bangalore-based company has revised its revenue growth guidance for FY22 from 16.5 to 17.5% to 16.5 से 19-20% इन्होंने रिवाइज कर दिया है अपना रेवेन्यू ग्रोथ फॉर FY22. सो आफ्टर दिस थर्ड क्वार्टर रिजल्ट्स. So just imagine how much of growth is there in this particular industry. The company sees spending from a small enterprises and big tech alike driving this revenue acceleration. Now, when we talk about when we also see there is talking about the current demand environment. Abhi Mr. Mr. Thierry Delporte, who is the chief executive officer of Wipro, Mr. Thierry Delporte, he's also talking about the current demand environment. Now, he's saying that the said company has not delivered a single quarter with less than 3% growth over the last 5 quarters. We have acquired a third of revenue to our revenue base in these 5 quarters. We are bigger than we were a year ago. So in a nutshell, guys, इस पर्टिकुलर इंडस्ट्री में जैसे कि इंडस्ट्री ग्रो कर रहा है, the growth is so much exponential, that there's so much of potential in this particular industry in the next decade to come. Around 2017-18, when the IT leaders first started reporting digital deals and revenue, it was seen as an area of that would take at least a decade to reach scale. However, the pandemic accelerated this growth almost overnight. So जैसे कि 17-18 में डिजिटल डील्स जो होते थे, रेवेन्यूज होते थे, इट यूज टू टेक a little more larger time to scale for scaling up. But however, जब pandemic आया, pandemic की वजह से this the growth has accelerated exponentially, almost like overnight. So this is what it means in the article. Uh, the companies have reiterated that this growth is broad based across business and market segment. you know Now if you see, to be sure, banking, financial services and insurance, that is BFSI, banking and financial services industry, continues to be the largest vertical by revenue share, as the sector has traditionally been top spender on technology. So the if you see the banking and the financial services and the insurance industry, they are this industry, particular industry, they are the traditionally they have been the top spenders on the technology. So they spending more on technology. So the input from these particular industry is more into IT, generating more of revenue for the IT companies. So that's what this particular article means here. And now if you see, according to the global data IT decision maker survey, spending on digital transformation by BFSI companies grew more, from an average of 39% of the information communication technology budget in 2020 to 45%, roughly. By it has increased more than 6%. If you see, if you compare it in 2021. uh, and also, if you see, the investments in digital capabilities have also prompted clients to shift from a smaller but incremental deals, unlike a mega deals seen until 2020. So even in the absence of mega deal wins, India's largest IT services companies, TCS, crossed $25 billion annual revenue milestone and expects to continue the growth streak of over the next decade on persistent demand. So the demand is huge, and the growth is huge in the next decade to come. So this particular industry is, this can be in the focused. Yeah, I'm sure that all of us, the people are betting big on the IT industry. I mean, this particular industry has gone from where to where. uh, 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 if you see, there is no reason why we should not aspire to continue to grow. That's what, if you see here, there's a $50 billion revenue is definitely a possibility, and whether it happens in 2026 or 2020 is a question. But there is a demand out where, uh, there is a demand out there where which requires significant focus on customers, talent development, partnerships to participate in this ecosystem, which is said by Mr. Rajesh Gopinath, Managing Director of Chief Executive Officers of TCS. So there is no reason why we should not aspire to continue to grow, whether that growth will be 10% or 15% or 20%. Will vary from period to period, but there is a significant scope available for growth, and that is what where we are setting up the company for. Um, yeah. Now, this article also tells us that, according to the data from advisory firm ISG, the annual contract value, that ACV, of managed services stood at $8 billion in the last quarter of 2021, which was up 13.2% year on year. It has stayed above 8% billion mark over the three consecutive quarters, compared to about 6.5 to $7 billion pre-pandemic. So another round of growth in the annual contract value, which has in the last three quarters, it has stayed up with 13.2%, which was pre-pandemic. It was just 6.5 to $7 billion. Um, so HCL Technology also expects to report double-digit growth rates in the ongoing financial year, betting on the client spending sentiment to stay the course over the next 2 or 3 years. So it's a on a big horizon. The IT companies have scaled up exponentially, and there's a lot of demand in this particular segment, in this industry, in the sector, in over the next 10 years, in the next decade to come. So this is what the article tells us about. And in addition to the current remote environment, the need for speed are driving large scope of deals with a smaller number of suppliers. So our research shows 53% of the global 2000 companies, 53% of the global 2000 companies know what they need and are on full throttle to get their 25% are still trying to figure it out, and the rest looking to snap back the past. So a lot of great things happening in this particular industry. This particular industry is an industry which really should be focused on from the investment perspective, and we should keep a track of all the companies, whether it is the blue chip IT companies, and the mid cap IT companies. They all are going to report a very healthy results in years to come, and to do a tremendous growth. There's a tremendous growth left. It's growing exponentially, and there's a lot of growth is going to come over the next 10 years. This is what this article is telling, which is from the Economic Times. And the next decade could be Indian IT watershed moment. So that's for now, all guys. And I just wanted to share this piece of information, which is I think cannot be ignored. And we all know that this technology is the new data for the days to come, and this is the sector that we should really look upon. So thank you so much, guys, and I look forward for you all to subscribe to my channel, to stay focused with all these kind of news going ahead. And I will surely cover up with more and more news which will tell about all the different industries, and also I will share with the stock ideas and everything in details to all you guys. So please like my subscribe to my channel and like the video if you really like my work. Thank you so much, guys, and signing off, Nilesh George here.